Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the figure review videos. So, we did just look at the figure collection stores new review or new figures from for the Macho Man figures, and we are on Hasstel Toys, Grapplers, and Gimmicks now. Last week or a couple weeks ago, we did the figures for the 97 era of British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, and we also looked at the Rougeau brothers. Today, we are still looking at the British Bulldog, but we're going to look at 92 era Davey Boy Smith alongside his wife Diana in a 2-pack. We're also going to look at 95 era Davey Boy Smith. And we're actually going to start with the 95 era because it is on single card. And this is, I'm not going to take this out of the package or anything, but this is your 95 era Davey Boy. There's only so much you can see in package, so we're just going to show you the actual individual piece. Now, it's always been important for me to have mint on card figures, and I've said it before plenty. I always love being able to look on the back of the card to see what's been released previously or what's in line for that respective series or even what's coming up next. Because sometimes, yes, they do show you next series or if there are more figures to be released later on in that respective series. It kind of gives you an idea of what's to come next. So, being a mint on card collector, it's also important to me because, yeah, value-wise. Understandably, today there's probably more mint on card collectors than ever before. It's not like back in the 80s and 90s where you have all these kids opening up their LJNs and Hasbros. I mean, how many people were saving, were getting the LJN figures and keeping them on card? They weren't. They were opening them. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of these packages that you're seeing circulating nowadays, either they're probably been resealed, or B, they were probably in stores that never sold. Maybe there was a toy store that had a bunch of them, and they've sold them over the years, and collectors bought them up, and they've been resold, and that's how they've been circulating. But no, today, all of these figures that I'm buying up on card and keeping on card, 20, 30 years from now, are they really going to be as valuable as what LJNs and Hasbros are today? I don't think so. Theoretically, I would love for them to be. I mean, that's my mindset. I mean, I kind of look at it as, hey, Grapplers and Gimmicks, you're paying $40 today. 20 years from now, I would love to think that mint on card, 20 years from now, that they would be worth $400. But who knows if that's going to be the case? But it's also important to have loose figures because I love making these videos for you guys. And you know what? When you look at them on card, you can see a certain aspect of the figure, but you can never really get to the back part of the figure. And sometimes there's so much graphics or so much going on the back of the figure, and it's nice to be able to see the full 360 of the figure. Now, ever since Jammers mentioned to me that it would be a good idea to kind of look at all of the British Bulldog figures from Hasbro and Mattel Creations with the Mattel Retros, look at Grapplers and Gimmicks. Cella Toys, I know they got the Billington Dynamite Kid figure. I'm trying to think if they got Davey Boy. I don't know if they even have a Davey Boy Smith. And if I do, I might pull out the Dynamite Kid figure just kind of like as a reference. But I'm gonna do that video, and I might do that video right after this one, or I might wait a few more videos. It depends on if I want to start doing the LJN round 2. I might wait till after a few set of those videos. But these figures, they look spectacular. But I talk about the certain grip and size that you're accustomed to with the Hasbro figures, right? These are killer designs. But as much as I love these figures, $40 for these figures, when you kind of look back and you think about Hasbro's, and nothing will ever compare. I don't care how great you think zombie sailors are, how amazing you think Mattel Retros could be, or if you're the biggest fan of Grapplers and Gimmicks, $40 figures, Mattel Creations, Mattel Retros are very close at $15 figures, but they can't compare to the $3 figures or $5 figures in some areas that you were paying for Hasbro. And please don't tell me about inflation. I'm fully aware, but inflation in 1990, 1992, 1994, etc. is not the equivalent of $40 today for $3 figures. So, and playability, pose, all that, they're not the same figures. Let's just put it that way. I have my preferences, and these are spectacular. They look amazing, but there's just no comparison. As display pieces, I think that you really got to call these guys small statues. I kind of started stop really looking at like Galoob figures, little 4-inch Galoobs as wrestling figures, and I started really focusing on them more as small statues themselves. And that's what these guys are. These are not made for kids. Big Rubber Guys, Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, age 18 and above. Not toys. Not made for kids. They are display pieces. They're decorative. They're rubber, but they're statues essentially. And these, I don't know what these are made of. These are like hard. They're harder plastic than Hasbro's. I think that these fall on the ground, they'll break. No doubt about it. But I think they're a little bit more sturdy than Hasbro's. So, like, I don't think you would sit there and hold your breath as much. I remember as a kid, I mean, we used to have this long brown cabinet on our second floor of our house. And it was carpeted on the second floor, of course. And our Hasbro's would fall off the table. And you're talking about from we're sitting at the table, from the table to the ground, you're probably looking at maybe a 2-foot drop, maybe 2.5 feet drop, 3-foot drop at most. And yeah, we've had broken arms and hands break off just from that. I'm like, crazy. So I think these would be a little bit more copacetic to, if they do fall off the shelf or something, you're not gonna be like, there goes my $40. This is a really good looking figure, and do I like this one more than the 97 era? I do really like the fact that they do give Davey Boy that little vest and everything. So that there are certain improvements I like with the 97 figure, but I think 95 and 97 Davey Boy is really sharp. And then we got the 2-pack of Diana and Davey Boy together. Now, this is, of course, circa 1992, and this was, of course, during the Intercontinental Championship match with Bret Hart, and this is when Davey Boy defeated Bret, and right at the end of the match, they embraced, and Bret basically accepted Davey Boy as the new Intercontinental champion, and Diana came in. Diana, Bret's sister, and the three of them were in the ring together, and that was such a beautiful, touching, and emotional moment. I still say that the whole Randy Savage and Elizabeth moment, and I think that was after, I want to say was it Royal Rumble 6? 90 or Royal Rumble 1990. All those freaking dates, man, they all blended together. I can't remember, but right after Sherry turned on Macho Man after he lost the title to Ultimate Warrior. Oddly enough, I mean, this is a great looking figure, and I don't know, something about this. When I got this figure in and I'm holding the figure, I got the grip on it, play pose on it looks good. I mean, head sculpt, it's a good looking figure. It's just something about it. It's got to be one of my least favorite British Bulldog figures, though. Of all the British Bulldog figures I have seen, not just from Grapplers and Gimmicks, I'm talking about Cello Toys, and I am including Dynamite Kid in that batch. I think this is probably my least favorite British Bulldog figure, and I don't know why. It's spectacular. Like the overall look and design is spectacular. You throw in Diana, right? And just like any of the female characters, female wrestlers or whatnot, Diana's not a wrestler. She's just, the wife of British Bulldog. It's a nice little addition, but come on. Uh, Rougeau brothers, whether you're looking at the Rougeau brothers tag team or the Rougeaus as the Quebecers as the tag team, legitimate wrestlers, nice designs. I can understand that being a legitimate 2-pack where you pay up the extra money. I could see $85 for that. But putting these two together and saying that, calling that a 2-pack and saying $85 the same way, no. This, to mention the guys at Hasstel Toys, I think they severely overcharged you for this. Not bash. I don't think I would ever bash those guys over at Hasstel Toys. I absolutely love what they do. Again, I think when it comes to Hasbro-esque toys, I think Grapplers and Gimmicks are doing probably the best job of any customizer, not customizer, but any business out there that are bringing you back to 90s Hasbro era related, bringing you 90s era Hasbro era related figures. So it's just that, not all of their figures are going to hit the mark. Do you think every single Hasbro figure hits the mark? I say Rick Rude is one of the worst figures ever, right? Jimmy Snuka was a bad figure. Freaking, trying to think my least favorite Hasbro figures. But there really wasn't a lot of bad Hasbros. But even though I kind of give Grapplers and Gimmicks credit for being probably the best comparison to Hasbro, and yes, Mattel Retros does actually give you legitimate action features, but some of their body functions, though, it's just weird. So I that's why I don't put them nearly as close to the top as I do Hasstel. But Hasstel does miss the mark from time to time. And Ahmed Johnson, fantastic piece on card. One of the best looking figures ever. But you take him off card and he falls apart. The Smoke Train looks good on card. You take him off card and the figure looks like you hold him and you look at him, it's like, what the heck is this? I think Mabel and Mo, when you first get the first set, spectacular, are some of my favorite figures ever. But when you look at them, they still kind of look like clay a little bit, right? So they were still getting their niche and trying to get their foothold and how to properly create the figures. They are doing a whole lot better with their figures. But this right here, $85. No, this right here to me, 40. This really should have been as if you were selling one figure. This should have been like a $40, $45 package, $50 max. This doesn't really count as an action figure, so I think this was an absolute wash, and this was really disappointing. I don't even count this as an action figure. This is just being shown simply because it was part of the lot, right? Today, I just ordered a couple of the Sensational Sherry figures from Grapplers and Gimmicks, and it's going to include a mirror, right? Okay. Is the mirror important? No, but I am going to show off the mirror because it's part of the package when the time comes and we receive that. But I'm trying to see if the head is very similar, but it's not. Like the bushiness of the hair, right? I like that a lot because that's like very Hasbro Series 4-esque. That's like my British Bulldog. So close, yet they completely missed the mark. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but how can he be so close yet so far away? But I like I said, the 92 figure, it just doesn't feel right when you if you guys purchase the figure and you hold it in your hand and you kind of look at the figure, you'll understand what I mean. I may not be doing it justice with my explanation, but if you when you get the figure and you look at it, you hold it, it'll make sense. I still think that this is one of the better, not just one of the best Hasstel Toys figures. I think this is one of the better Davy Boy figures all around. So one completely missed the mark. One is definitely a huge improvement. So with that being said, one of my biggest gripes lately, and it's not just from Hasstel Toys, it's basically any company, and it's killing me. I hate that they keep recycling the same characters over and over again. The one thing I will give Hasstel Toys credit for is they're at least giving you different body modes, different figures, alright? They're not just taking the same exact figure and repainting it. So, huge upgrade. I will give Hasstel Toys the biggest thumbs up in the world for that. Thank you for that right there. But on the flip side, I get it. You're worried about licensing and you don't want to get sued. I understand. But if you come out with one figure and you got that figure, you don't need to keep releasing figures, okay? I know you're trying to make money, but you got one figure, one character, got it. Just leave it alone. Wait till you get another figure in production. We can wait as fans. You don't need to keep releasing a British Bulldog figure over and over again. You don't need to keep releasing Mo over and over again. Even though I absolutely love the Mo figures, I think I think Mo from Hasstel Toys, one of the top 15 best action figures ever made. One of the best wrestling action figures ever made. Mabel, one of the best 15 action figures ever made. So Hasstel Toys, killing it with their action figures in that regard. But you don't need to keep making Mabel. You already made an amazing one. You wanted to improve on the kind of like a clay looking face, clay body, whatnot. I got it. You improved on it, but you came back. You made like a second and third one, or a third and fourth one. I'm like, why would you do that? So, and it's not just, and the Rougeaus, you made them multiple times. Stop it. Stop making the same characters over and over again. You're financially killing your customers. So that's annoying. I say that goes out to Grapplers and Gimmicks, but that goes out to every other business in the world that keeps doing the same thing and keeps releasing the exact same characters over and over again. I've talked about original San Francisco toy makers, but you know what? I didn't even know about original San Francisco when I was a kid. So I didn't even know about them until a few years ago when I started collecting wrestling figures. But when I did start collecting them, 90s action figures, especially mint on card, are always going to be crazily priced. And those were always going to cost me a fortune. And me having to have every single variant of every single figure of every single line, every single series, and I kept having to get the exact same characters over and over again. It's like, man, That was that was so annoying. And then I kind of look at original San Francisco, and then I see all these other companies kind of mimicking what they're doing. Cella Toys is absolutely horrible in that regard. Constantly doing that. No. So when I kind of do that review video where I end up looking at all of the different British Bulldog figures, I think it's going to be interesting. I kind of have an idea of what figure I like the most already. And I may have an idea of what figure might be my least favorite. I'm guessing. I don't know. It's just those middle section that's going to be kind of interesting and how I pick them out. But anyways, guys, that's it for now, man. Shoot. Over 20 minutes for 3 figures. That's crazy. As always, guys, thank you for listening to my little rant. Oh my god. This was not a review, this was a rant. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos, as always, guys. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you, and I will respond as quickly as I can. If not, no worries. I will talk to you in the next video, and until next time. Goodbye, everybody.